Okay, we're going to get started right now. So good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, our Google.edu journey with Council Bluffs Community Schools, sponsored by Google for Education. Today's speakers are going to be Kristen Kulick, who is part of the Google for Education team, and David Fringer, the Chief Technology Officer of Council Bluffs Community Schools. Before I pass things off to Kristen, I'd like to mention two quick things. If at any time you have any questions, please use them. Please post them in the Q&A box in the lower right-hand side of your screen. That's where we will take the questions for our Q&A section at the end of this webinar. Finally, this webinar is being recorded, so we will post it in our archives afterwards and within 48 business hours, so I say Monday, end of day, you should get a follow-up email with a copy of the presentation and the slides. So without further ado, I'm going to pass things off to Kristen. So Kristen, there, take it off.
Great, thank you, Liz. And thanks everybody for coming today. As Liz mentioned, I'm on the Google for Education team. And here on my team, we think about this number a lot. But what is 60%? So 60% is the percentage of students today who will have jobs that don't exist yet. So if you think about it, many of the technology roles that you and I are in didn't exist whenever we were in school. So whenever I was a student, there were no Google for Education program managers. There was no Google for Education. Chromebooks and tablets didn't even exist. And so this is something that's not just true of technology roles. Many non-tech roles have changed dramatically as well, and that's generally as the result of adopting technology. So the way that we research and collaborate and disseminate information has already evolved and is going to continue to change. So the conventional thinking on education is no longer enough, and we need to change that as well. So we need to teach our kids the tools to be successful, how to collaborate, to research, and to organize information, and to formulate an argument. So in many ways, technology has already transformed the way we experience the world. And this slide shows a few examples. So the first image there is representative of one of our Google schools, which is Fort Sam Houston in Texas. And they serve a very heavily military population. They chose to go with Google Apps and with Chromebooks because it enabled their parents to stay connected with their students' work even whenever they were deployed overseas. And technology also allows students to explore the world, all while staying within the classroom. So for instance, students can take a virtual field trip through connected classrooms and visit places like the Seattle Aquarium or the Minnesota Zoo. Or through the Google Art Project, they can zoom in on Georges Seurat's Sunday on the Grand Jeté and see the details that led to the pointillism movement without actually traveling to the Art Institute of Chicago. Or we can all travel to the Galapagos Islands and learn a little more about sea turtles by using maps tracks. So technology is enabling students to discover a whole world's worth of information outside of the four walls of a classroom or the covers of an encyclopedia. So what can we do to help further this transformation in education? Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. So here on the Google for Education team, we believe that open technology is the key to improving education. So what does it mean for a school to go Google? We asked our Google schools, and they told us that it's about more than just technology. It's about adopting a culture that extends beyond the classroom walls. And it's about openness, curiosity, and working together. So going Google is encompassed by four things. First, empowerment, helping students to discover a world of infinite resources. Second, choice. It's about being able to use the right device, the right time, anywhere, anytime. And it's about teamwork, having students being able to work together with parents and teachers in real time. And it's about scalability, bringing in technology that's affordable and easy to manage. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes to talk more about each of these points. So firstly, on empowerment. When you have access to digital content, it empowers students and gives teachers the tools to individualize learning. And it's important to help students discover that world of infinite resources and to change the role of the teacher from a lecturer who disseminates information to a facilitator who coaches and supports students as they explore the information available to them and helps them to solve real-world problems. So secondly, Google believes in giving schools choice, so the ability to use the right device anytime, anywhere. Because really, what good is information if it's not accessible in the classroom? Teachers can only change the way that they teach if students have reliable and secure access to a device. So we want teachers and students to be able to use the right device, whether that be a laptop or a tablet or a phone or a desktop, and to be able to use that device in school, at home, or on the go. So basically, we want technology to get out of the way so that students and teachers can focus on the content and on working together. So with that in mind, Google solutions work across many different platforms. The next point of Google is about teamwork. So through Google Drive, multiple students are able to work in the same doc and the same presentation or spreadsheet at the same time. So collaboration like this fosters teamwork, problem solving, and organization, which are all key skills for the modern world. A lot of our teachers say that the ability to work together in real time using Google Apps is the most profound change in the way that they teach and in the way that students learn. And finally, going Google is about scale. It's about having technology that is affordable and easy to manage. Because with a school's budget, the price of a device matters. Because low-cost solutions give more students the opportunity to go Google. But scalability, device and content management are equally important to help keep total cost of ownership low, which allows IT teams to manage the surge in device deployment. So Google makes devices that are quick and easy to set up and quick and easy to manage. With Google Apps for Education as the foundation, it's easy to manage 10 or 10,000 devices with our admin tools. You can set up a whole classroom with tablets or Chromebooks in just minutes. And then because our devices are intuitive and easy to use, the students get started with them quickly, and there's no need to run around troubleshooting in every classroom. We also offer 24/7 online and phone support, so we can help out if there are any challenges. And these are the things that mean that you can easily scale your IT. So technology can help transform education, but we need to not forget that real change requires people, and people oftentimes need help to change. So one thing that Google does is to try to make that technology get out of the way by making it simple and secure and making it seamless across the core platform, the devices that access that platform, and the content you use on those devices. So how can you start to go Google? Firstly, we offer schools a free suite of services called Google Apps for Education. These apps include Gmail as your email service provider and things like docs and spreadsheets and presentations for content creation. And Google Apps for Education are all web-based. So it means that they're available from any device with a web browser. And they have centralized web-based management where you can create users and adjust settings. And as web-based applications, means that Google Apps for Education are great for collaborating because multiple people can be creating and editing at the same time. And not only are they powerful and transformative for schools, but the price is right too. Google Apps for Education is 100% free and without ads. And to date, we have over 30 million Google Apps for Education users found in 180 different countries. So in addition to the platform, Google helps schools to go Google through devices. Chromebooks are computers that are web-based, and they're great for schools because they're easy to use, easy to manage, easy to customize, and easy to scale. So when you're using a Chromebook, everything is stored on the web, so it doesn't matter which actual machine that you use. So with a Chromebook, the focus isn't on the technology, it's on the user. When your student signs into any Chromebook, they're taking the learning experience that you designed for them based on your curriculum goals. So the idea is that technology seems invisible, just another tool in the class. And Chromebooks are great because they're incredibly simple and easy to use for both students and faculty. A lot of our Chromebook adopters say that they love the devices because they quote-unquote just work. And they're going to continue to just work because the devices are web-based. meaning it's impossible to catch a virus and you'll never need to re-image the machine. So we believe that technology should be a tool to help you teach, but nobody's going to use that tool if it's too difficult or time-consuming. So Chromebooks have a battery life that lasts all day, and they boot up in under 8 seconds. So your students are able to spend more of their time learning, and your teachers can spend more of their valuable time on instruction and not on waiting for technology to work. And Chromebooks are also affordable. Some of our devices start as low as $199, and the management software is as low as $30 per device. And that management software makes it easy to manage 10 or 10,000 devices. And all of the management takes place within one online interface where you can adjust the controls, device settings, and the user experience. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about that management because it's one of the critical differences between Chromebooks compared to other laptops on the market. Because Chromebooks shift the model away from the old way of managing devices. We have to touch each and every computer, buying and installing software locally, or setting up antivirus controls, or wiping and re-imaging devices. So with Chromebooks, you manage all of your devices through one centralized web page called the Management Console. And here you're able to control device settings and security controls. So for instance, you can require that all of your students have to route through a proxy, regardless of where they're signed into a Chromebook. You can also specify who can use your devices. And you're able to push out web applications to your students through just a few clicks. And all of the controls within the Management Console enables you to create a secure testing environment. So it means that Chromebooks are approved for PARC and Smarter Balance testing. There's also multiple layers of security built into those devices, including sandboxing and verified boot, meaning they're incredibly secure to use in the classroom. So in order to get all of these management features, you'll need to purchase a one-time license at $30 per device. So you'll need one license for every Chromebook that you have. And we're now offering a wide range of Chromebooks. The hardware specs on each of these devices are a little different. They're going to vary in terms of ports and screen size and weight, etc. But they're all running on the same Chrome operating system, and all of them are managed through your Google Apps for Education control panel through using that Chrome management license. So despite the difference in the hardware, the user experience and the management experience is going to be the same across devices. We also provide a wealth of online applications through the Chrome web store. So these are apps that you can use on your Chromebooks and on the Chrome web browser. There are thousands of different applications within the Chrome web store that span all different subject matters and grade levels. So through the Chromebook Management Console, you're able to find apps and push them out to your users so that they're available to them next time they sign into a device. So in addition to Chromebooks, last fall, Google expanded our offering to include tablets with Google Play for Education. And it's a program that's open to K-12 schools in the U.S. And our team worked with schools to make sure that this solution of devices and content and management was truly designed for learning and made for the classroom. So some of the key benefits of tablets with Google Play for Education is that we made it easy for schools to deploy tablet devices in the classroom, to discover strong educational content for their teachers and for their students, and then an easy way to deliver those apps and videos and books to the right users. So to gain access to all of those deployment, discovery, and delivery features, you'll first need a tablet that's been approved for Google Play for Education. So at this point, we have one tablet that's available right now, and that's the Nexus 7 that starts at $229. In the next few weeks, we're also going to have an HP Slate, an Asus Transformer, and a new version of the Samsung Galaxy. So with all of these devices, you'll need to purchase a $30 license that will provide you with access to a setup application for deploying your devices and with access to the Google Play for Education site, which I'll cover in more detail in the next few slides. So that Google Play for Education license allows you an easy deployment where you can set up an entire classroom in a matter of minutes. So to do so, you'll set up one tablet as your administrator tablet. You'll then choose a student account from a spreadsheet, pick up another student tablet, and touch it to that admin tablet. You just bump the two tablets together. And then through near-field communication, your students' tablets are set up in a matter of minutes. And then once the devices are set up, students are able to sign in using their Google Apps for Education login information. But having a device is not enough. Schools also need strong educational content and an easy way to find it. So whenever you think about the general Google Play Store with all of the Android applications that are available to consumers, there are over 1 million applications there. With a license for Google Play for Education, you gain access to a Play for Education site. And on this specialized site, you're able to discover apps for your tablets that are great for the classroom because they've been vetted and approved by other educators. So whenever you have access to the Google Play for Education site, there's a couple of great ways where you're able to discover apps. So first, you're able to filter for specific apps by setting criteria like subject matter or grade level or Common Core standard, or you can find apps based on whether or not they're free or paid. And whenever you filter like this, you're finding applications that have been teacher approved for the classroom, meaning they've been vetted by our team of educators and deemed good for an education setting. The other way to find content within the Google Play for Education site is to search within a search bar at the top. So if you type in a keyword like subtraction in the search bar, you find all of those teacher-approved applications, as well as the search pulls up apps from those 1 million apps within the Google Play site. And whenever you find an app that you're interested in, you can click on it to learn more details. So there's an app description as well as up to 3 different badges. So there's an EDU badge that signifies the app was approved by educators who reviewed it for quality. There's an in-app free badge, which signifies that the app does not allow for purchases within the application. And then there's also an ad-free badge that indicates that the app does not contain advertisement. So whenever you found an app that you want for your students, the Play for EDU site makes it easy to deliver it. So to send an app, you simply click on the app, select the number of licenses that you want, and select the student's Google Apps for Education username or the group of students that you want to use that app. The app is then automatically added to those students' tablets. And many of the apps that we have are free, but if the app does have a cost associated with it, you can purchase it through using a PO. You just update the quantity of licenses that you want, and the total cost automatically updates. And you're able to pull against a blanket PO that your school added to your Play for EDU site. And one thing that we're really excited about is that in addition to Android apps, we recently expanded our content offering to include book rentals through Google Play for Education. So the Play site now contains a wide range of books, including some of my personal childhood favorites like James and the Giant Peach and The Bridge to Terabithia. But there's also textbooks within the site, like Houghton Mifflin's Go Math or Journeys to a Common Core. And these books are all rented through the Google Play site. So you purchase a limited time access, which is generally about 60 to 360 days, and assign a book to a student-specific username. So this means it helps keep the material fresh and interesting in the classroom, and you can study books that your students and your teachers are interested in, and not the ones that you're obligated to teach because they happen to be in the supply cabinet from 12 years ago. But once a book is assigned to a student's username, the student is able to read it at home or at school or on any device where they've downloaded the Google Play Reader. So they can take notes and look up vocabulary and even translate to foreign languages right from that reader. And when they log on to the next device, they're able to pick up where they left off. With Google Play for Education, you can also discover approved YouTube videos. So when you type in a keyword to the search bar, videos aimed at K through 12 are returned as part of the results. And all of these videos are from approved YouTube for Education channels, and you're able to send those out to your students. So, as mentioned, there are tens of thousands of apps within Google Play. But in addition to providing you with that curated content, so those EDU-approved apps, we wanted to help you get started with finding the right tools for your students. So this 75 apps for your class is a free online presentation that highlights teacher tools, student tools, and literacy apps for both tablets with Play for Education and for Chromebooks. So you'll find thousands of these kinds of apps within Google Play for Education and within the Chrome Web Store, but this presentation is a good place to get you started. So we've covered the different offerings that Google for Education has, the platform through Google Apps for Education, the devices through tablets with Play for Education and Chromebooks, and then also the content that's provided. So at this point, I wanted to turn the presentation over to David Fringer at Council Bluffs, which is a district that has really gone Google with Google Apps, Chromebooks, and with tablets. So David, go ahead and take it away.
All right. I believe that I have the ball now. Welcome to snowy Western Iowa, cold and snowy Western Iowa today. My name is David Fringer, and I am the Chief Technology Officer for the Council Bluffs Community School District. A couple of demographics to allow you to compare yourself to us as far as size and scope of our operations. We're a school district of about 9,000 students, 1,200 staff. Council Bluffs is a suburban community to Omaha, Nebraska. We are directly to the east of Omaha, across the Missouri River. We are 69% free and reduced lunch, 2 high schools, 2 middle schools, and 11 elementary sites. In Iowa, we're a big school district. Nationwide, I'd say we're a medium-sized school district comparatively. Our Google EDU journey started a number of years ago. Recently, you know, we've had people notice our overnight success that took us 7 years of overnights to achieve. I always want to emphasize with folks that anything you do is a process, and our process has not been overnight, and it has been very thoughtful and carefully planned out with 2 very fortunate opportunities that came our way. And the first one of those was in 2007. The school district was contemplating options for a new email system when somebody who happened to be a Googler asked us to take a quick look at Google Apps. And honestly, at that time, we were just looking for email. We'd all seen Gmail online, but the enterprise version of Google Apps that allows for domain control and all of the great things that we're doing now was a pretty new thing in 2007. And I think I went out on a limb to a degree when I said, yeah, let's do it. But it was a replacement for email only at the time. And to be honest, you know, that was the fortunate decision number 1, was because while email was our objective, all of the things that followed later really started to grow just organically. In a very short time, our staff was saying, we need to have Google Apps accounts for students. This is a powerful platform, and it's going to give us the ability to collaborate and create online in an environment that is very low cost, as Kristen mentioned, free for K-12, and also in an environment that fosters collaboration. It breaks down the walls of the school district. It allows for 24/7, 365 learning. So by 2008, we were getting our high school students into Google Apps with student accounts. The second very fortunate event that occurred in our district is related to the Chromebook beta test in the fall of 2010. Our school district doesn't do anything without a plan. And we had a strategic plan in place. It was approved by the school board in 2009 before we had ever heard of a Chromebook or the concept of a Chromebook. The strategic plan indicated that we could provide portable computing devices for all of our students in grades 3 through 12. And that strategic plan was in implementation and included some infrastructure build-up at first, you know, better wide area network, better wireless network access, more internet service, etc. We were ready for devices. We were starting to shop and think about what kind of a device we were going to provide for all of our students in grades 3 through 12, but we were looking at everything. We were looking at tablets, netbooks, laptops, Apple, PC, Linux, etc. We were looking at everything, and we'd not made a decision, a final decision, but we're narrowing in on some sort of a netbook, probably running Linux, to connect us to the internet, which ironically is exactly what a Chromebook does. When in the fall of 2010, we got a call from Google explaining their new concept. It was a CR48, was the Chromebook beta device, and they offered a number of devices to be tested in classrooms in our district. It was just perfect timing. So it was really, you know, 2 fortunate you could call it serendipity, events that really transformed our school district beginning in 2007 to where we are now, which is, you know, when Kristen said going Google is more than just using Google stuff, she's right. Our culture in the school district has changed significantly. We are about open 24/7, 365 access to information, collaboration, instruction, etc. And it's all been facilitated by the Google suite of products, including apps and Chromebooks. And I'll talk a little bit about where we're going with the Play Store for EDU in a few minutes. I'm not going to read the whole timeline to you. Obviously, you can see that for yourself. We have used an early adopter model. We have started with small groups and then expanded with everything we've done, whether it's been Google Apps or Chromebooks or tablets in the classroom or Play for EDU. Our methodology has always been to use an early adopter model. We started with 20 teachers in Chromebooks, and now all of our teachers in grades 3 through 12 are Chromebook users, etc. We will be, by the fall of 2014, 1-for-1 in grades 3 through 12 with, in our case, Samsung Chromebooks. To go back to the platform, to Google Apps for just a second, I already touched on the fact that it was kind of an accident that all of the other features and functions came along. It was really a replacement for an obsolete email system. Google Apps really grew organically. People started to see the power of what was, you know, also included with email, with docs and sheets and slides and the calendar. It was really a grassroots call for can't we use this with kids, rather than the district saying to the teachers, you have to use this with kids. It was kind of a flipped implementation in that way. We didn't do our first formalized professional learning until we started our Chromebook implementation in the fall of 2010. Before that, it was teachers requesting their classes have access to Google Apps accounts, and we were allowing capacity to build laterally and very informally. But by the fall of 2010, the scale and the scope of our project was so big that we started professional learning. And the other thing I would point out is that the Google Apps platform is a completely different platform today than it was in the fall of 2007. The features and functionality have grown exponentially. If you're a Google Apps user, you've seen that. The product, as it stands today, is nothing like the product we started to use in 2007, and we're only looking forward to all the improvements. It's a product that is steadily improved all the time. There's always new features and functions for apps, docs, calendars, sites, etc., that are becoming available. Our professional learning model is really important in our implementation of the whole Google Apps suite of products. We do dedicate one day a year, a focus day. One of our staff professional development days has an instructional technology focus. We do it conference style with sessions, and our early adopting teachers have really become quite the experts in classroom instruction and using the Google tools in teaching and learning. So we've organically grown our own presenters. We also bring in folks from other districts, from our intermediary service unit in Iowa and AEA, and also sometimes some regional and national people for that day. But typically it's a conference style, pick your own session kind of a day. We also do building level initiatives, individual building level initiatives. A particular school might want to use a product called Turnitin, for example. And Turnitin is an anti-plagiarism and kind of a content. It's a way to measure the content that the kids are creating against the standard. Also anti-plagiarism. We have a couple of buildings doing that, and other individual building initiatives. Those are encouraged, and the buildings themselves are encouraged to create their own plans for implementation and rationale for doing so. Then there's a more formal embedded building professional development, typically in a PLC type of a structure. Sometimes those are Java-like teams, grade level teams, and sometimes they're building teams. We do have the luxury in our school district of weekly professional development time. On Mondays, we have an early dismissal, which has really led to the ability to be able to provide lots of different types of professional development, including technology, Google Apps focused professional development, typically led by instructional coaches. And we have found that by having this embedded building PD with true focus on our instructional technology goals, that it's been able to lead to deeper implementation. We also are big proponents of an early adopter model. We have moved our one-to-one initiative forward from high school to middle school to elementary school over 3 years. And the way that we've done that is by going a year before with an early adopter model. For example, our high school early adopters were those teachers who used those Chromebooks, the first Chromebooks in the fall of 2010, spring of 2011. That was our first cohort of early adopters. When the high school was ready to go to our true one-to-one initiative in the fall of 2012, we had a middle school early adopting group starting up, and then this year our elementary school early adopters are using their one-to-one environment Chromebook in preparation for next year's implementation of Chromebooks in all 3, 4, 5 grade classrooms. So we believe that that early adopter model does a couple of things. It builds capacity in the buildings to support themselves, which is really important, and it also gives those teachers who are high energy and high aptitude and really want to do it the opportunity to go first and to become experts. For those early adopting cohorts, they receive an extra half day of professional development every month. We focus on the ISD net standards for teachers, the SAMR model, and the main thing that we are trying to employ in our classrooms using technology is collaboration, global connectedness, problem finding, and then we have kind of an equation: curiosity plus passion equals greater intelligence. So those are our key concepts that we're trying to implement in our classrooms. And the idea of this whole early adopter model is to build capacity in buildings so that when everybody becomes a teacher in a one-to-one environment, there's other teachers in their building that have gone first, that can demonstrate that best practice, that can provide professional development at the building level, etc. We are really big proponents of the early adopter model for professional development. Obviously, we've been using Chromebooks for a little while, and I know that there's probably a lot of folks who have connected to the webinar today to hear about Chromebooks specifically. We are, as I mentioned, one-to-one in grades 3 through 12. We have about 7,000 Chromebooks, something like that, that have been implemented in our classrooms. And so we think we know a little bit about Chromebooks in general and how they work best in an education environment. Something that I don't think is negotiable is I think you have to use Google Apps for Education. I don't believe that, without that, the Chromebook is as powerful a platform. And you also have to be committed to the internet, to cloud computing, to using the power of the web. There are obviously things that a Chromebook can't do. You can't, use a client application on a Chromebook. Java is limited on a Chromebook, etc. So you really have to be committed to the new internet, the HTML5 internet, and there is an app for that. So with Google Apps and with the vast amount of apps in the Google Play Store, there is plenty of power out there, but it is a slight paradigm shift. Obviously, the cost is right. There's no system maintenance. Our ratio of technicians to computer used to be about 1 to 700 or 1 to 750 when we were a PC, when we were a personal computing environment, Windows. We were a Windows shop before. Now our ratio is more like 1 to 1,400. We have one technician for about 1,400 computers. Most of those computers are Chromebooks, and obviously, that ratio is about double of what we used to be able to take care of with one individual. So we have not had to add as many staff as we thought we might have to in a different kind of one-to-one environment. We love the management console. I cannot emphasize enough the power of the management console to create an environment that's both safe for your students and very, very controlled in the instances you want it to be, and also allows you to monitor, manage devices, manage users, etc., in a way that is very efficient because it's on the internet. You can manage from anywhere you have an internet connection, and it is very intuitive. You don't need hours and hours and hours of training in managing either devices or users with the management console. You can learn it pretty easy, and it's very intuitive. Chromebooks obviously have a keyboard, which we think is an important difference from tablets, and the student feedback that we've received from especially our middle and high school students tell us thank you very much for selecting a device with a keyboard. 8-hour battery life, honestly. We have some of those CR48s, those Chromebook prototypes are still in service. Lots of them are still in service, and we've had no battery degradation. Battery has not been an issue at all. They last all day. The students charge at home. We don't charge at school. Battery has never been an issue. The computer really does boot from cold to ready to go in about 8 seconds. And the last thing, sometimes I think should be my first point when I talk about what do we know about Chromebooks, you have to have a great wireless network. It's a wireless device. It's an internet-based device. While there is some functionality that works offline, for the most part, you better have a good wireless network. And in our instance, it has allowed us to put more resources into internet service and a great wireless network and less resources into devices because the device is less expensive. It is my recommendation to anybody that's thinking about one-to-one, before you even start talking about devices, talk about your network and talk about your wireless, because that will be your fail point with any device, not just Chromebook. Our keys to success, have a plan. We were lucky. We have a superintendent who took our district into a really arduous strategic planning process. From that came that technology initiative to improve our infrastructure and to provide portable computing devices for grades 3 through 12. That was not our only plan. That was the umbrella plan. And from there, we developed very specific action plans about how we were going to implement at the high schools, middle schools, elementary schools. From that came that early adopter model, et cetera. Planning is critical. We also think that people get in a rush sometimes. We've seen school districts just get in a rush to get the devices out there, and sometimes they forget about the professional learning that needs to take place and the capacity building that you need to put in place before all of the devices get to all of the kids so that you're ready to go. Obviously, our school board signed off on our strategic plan. We had community members who participated in our strategic plan, and we think that we built a real community consensus around our initiative before we even started. We're always measuring. We have clear goals and measurable outcomes that we can measure ourselves against all the time, and it's kind of a moving target, and our goals and our outcomes change. However, we always have them. We always have stated clear goals and things that we can measure to indicate our progress or lack of progress. Professional development, you can't offer too much. We believe in that start small and build capacity, early adopter model. We believe that you should select a device that's right for your district and that you should look at lots of devices. The Chromebook fits our district really, really well, and we think that it fits lots of districts really, really well, but the Chromebook isn't the only device you can be successful with. There's other good devices, depending on your budget, your network, and what you need to do with the device in the classroom, what your instructional initiatives are. Just make sure you really consider your device. Use people who have already done this, and that's what you're doing by attending the webinar. Go visit schools who are one-to-one in your neighborhood. Look at folks, and don't just get stuck going to Chromebook schools. We've been to school districts that use all kinds of different devices, and we learn something in every one of them. You know, it's not just the Chromebook schools who know how to do it right. So we use all of our neighbors who are one-to-one partners, and no matter what their platform or device is. And the last thing is, don't expect the technology to do the hard work for you. If you have teachers that are marginal, just putting computers in their classroom isn't going to make them a great teacher. You have to continue to develop your staff. You have to continue to work hard to build the capacity and the people that work in your school district to improve teaching and learning in classrooms. Just buying computers isn't going to do that. You have to have a plan for what you're going to do with them. In our case, we have very clear instructional strategies that we are implementing, and the computer is a tool. We don't teach technology. We don't teach computer. We teach science and math and language arts and social studies, and we use the computer when it's appropriate to do so. Kristen talked a little bit about content, and this slide shows some of the content we use in our district. Obviously, we are a Google Apps district. YouTube might be our #1 source of content in the district. Teachers have found so much rich content using YouTube. Besides that, Discovery, Evernote, Blogger, Google Books, we use Sahara Teacher Dashboard. Houghton Mifflin and Pearson have digital content that we access online with our Chromebooks. We use Edgenuity, NBC Learn, etc. So, you know, these are all either sources of content or content organization that we use in our classroom and in our classrooms. And what you'll notice about all of them that they have in common is that they're web-based. We believe in the power of the web, and we will not adopt anything that is not web-based going forward. It's too constricting to buy something and install it, and then that's what you got. The nice thing about what's available in the way of content on the internet is that it's always changing, it's always developing, it's always more, better, and you're not, you know, constrained by what it is that you purchased and installed in your own local environment. Google Play for Education, really quick. We are in the early stages of an initiative in our primary classrooms, and we can't say for sure that we're moving forward with tablets and Google Play in our elementary classrooms because we're in another strategic planning process right now. I think that might come out of our strategic planning process, but I can't say for sure. We did beta test Google Play for education in 4 classrooms in our district, 2 kindergarten classrooms and 2 first grade classrooms, and these are photographs that were taken in one particular classroom in Bethany Hayes's kindergarten classroom, and you will see if you visited these classrooms, very engaged students, and there was always kind of a worry about you know, the instruction, whether you know the technology was going to replace the teacher, and that's not the case at all. Bethany's quote is that, you know, she doesn't use the tablets to do the teaching; she uses them to make her teaching better, which is what we discovered. The thing that we discovered that was so exciting about the Play Store was exactly what Kristen described. Apps are easy to purchase and deploy. If you've used other tablet devices where the apps are not as easy to deploy, you might need to physically connect the device to something in order to get the apps to sync. You don't have to do that with a Nexus tablet and Google Play for Education. You can deploy apps electronically via the management console in the Google Play for Education store, and purchasing and distribution is super easy. The management is all web-based, and the apps are categorized by content area, Common Core standard, and grade level. Our teachers love that, and the teacher-approved part of the EDU store, when you look at an app and you see that it's been vetted by a professional, by a teacher, you know, teacher-approved, that gave us some degree of confidence that that app would be good for teaching and learning in our classroom. With that, I tried to go as fast as I could. We are all Google. I am more than happy to answer any questions that you might have, and I believe that there's contact information on my first slide. You are more than welcome to contact me. The best way is by email if you have questions after the webinar is over.
Okay, great. Thank you, David. I have a bunch of questions coming in, so we'll start here. What would you say is the best argument to use to convince administrators that Chromebooks are the best tool to use for students and technology?
I would go back to my slide, what do we know about Chromebooks? And, you know, there's all kinds of devices that you can buy, but if you do a total cost of ownership analysis and understand that many of the tools that you can use on a Chromebook are free, you don't have to pay for obviously any of the native Google apps, but there's also lots and lots of Chrome apps that are free or have free versions. It's pretty hard to beat on a total cost of ownership when school budgets are so tight, you know, what it costs to implement a Chromebook one-to-one initiative, including the staffing, et cetera. It really takes fewer folks, and the platform is very inexpensive. With that, I'd also say make sure you understand that you've got to harness the power of the internet when you do it.
Okay. Do the Chromebooks have to be online all the time in order to utilize all programs? In other words, if a student does not have internet access at home, can they still use it?
That's a really good question. I'll answer it two different ways. There is offline access to some things on a Chromebook. For example, if you're working on a presentation or a document or a site, you can enable it for offline access and access, your content when you're offline, so that you can continue to work on a document or a presentation, etc. I will also add that we have not, in our community, we're 70% free and reduced lunch, so that kind of gives you an idea of the poverty in our community. We don't have any problem with students finding internet access, even if it's not at home. There is so much free Wi-Fi in fast food restaurants, in the public library. We have some hot spots in town. Obviously, our school buildings, provide wireless, 24/7, whether you're inside the building or out. So finding wireless has not been an issue at all in our community.
Okay. Sorry, there's a bunch of questions coming in. Do parents carry insurance to replace the computer if it is changed or damaged or lost?
That's a good question. What we have done, and we copied it from a neighbor. There's a school district in Omaha that they're in their 9th year of a one-to-one initiative. And when I said use the people who went before you, I was specifically referring to them in our case. They do something, and so do we now, called cooperative damage and loss. We're not an insurance company, and we don't call it insurance, but essentially we allow families to participate for $25 a year in a damage and replacement guarantee fund. We have about 80 to 85% of our families choose to participate, and for that $25 a year, they get a significant discount on repair or replacement in the event of an accidental or even on purpose damage or a loss. We haven't had any theft really with Chromebooks because they're not really a very good device on the secondary market. There just is not really anywhere to sell them. And the Management Council allows us to lock them down so tight that if you don't belong to our organization, you can't log on to the device, no matter what you do to it or how many times you reset it. So in our district, for $25 a year, you participate in a cooperative fund that is set up for the purpose of providing low-cost repairs. If you choose not to participate, you sign a document that says, I am responsible for full cost of repair or replacement in the event the device is lost or broken.
Are there any apps necessary if we just want to use Google Drive to create, share, and collaborate on documents and presentations?
No. If your goal is to use just the Google Apps suite of applications, then you don't need to download any apps, and all of those things do work, or most of that does work when enabled for offline use.
Okay, someone wanted to know if your school uses ebooks or online textbooks.
Some of both. We have purchased curriculum materials from both Pearson and Houghton Mifflin that include online textbooks, which are really fancy PDF websites. I'm going to let my bell, that obviously when I'm in a school building. It must be time to go home. In addition to the online, I know that you guys are going to love listening to this.
Thank you.
If anybody's out for track, Old Field House. Anyway, the second part of that was ebooks, and we are circulating lots of ebooks. We use Google Books, obviously, for especially all of the classics are available. We don't buy any more copies of A Tale of Two Cities or A Catcher in the Rye because they're available in the non-copyright section of the Google Bookstore. So those are all free. But we are circulating ebooks in our library. We have purchased electronic versions of books that we then circulate. The students read on their Chromebooks and then return to the library electronically with no paper copies.
Okay, someone's someone was saying, we are hoping to start a small Chromebook deployment next year and moving the district to, is it GAFE? Yeah. We are feeling overwhelmed on where to start. Do you have any recommendations?
I would start with Google Apps because you don't have to have Chromebook, and you can start really quick with Google Apps. And I would, depending on the size of your school, pick an early adopting group. In our case, our group of early adopters, the very first ones was a group of 20. Maybe that's too big for your school, or maybe it's not enough. Our first 20 early adopters are now our experts 4 years later. They are our absolute experts in everything Google Apps and everything Chromebook. If you would like to dabble in the management console and learn what the management console is all about, you only have to buy one Chromebook with management console, and they turn it on. And you can see all the settings. You can teach yourself. You can learn about the management console. You can participate in some online discussions that take place with other schools who use Chromebooks and learn all about it for the low cost of one Chromebook with management console. Well worth it.
I also wanted to use this opportunity to plug the Learning Center that Google has. If you just do a search for Google for Education Learning Center, it's a new redesigned site that we have that has a lot of online courses that can help educate you about Google Apps for Education, help you become a certified trainer if you wanted to go all the way with that. But there's also just a resources link that has a lot of different guides about how to pick a domain name, how to get started on Google Apps, information about Chromebooks. So again, Google Learning Center for Google Apps for Education, and there'll be a lot of great resources there.
Okay, this might be a question for both of you, and it might be a simple answer. Can you elaborate a bit more on the difference between Google for Education and Google Play for Education?
Sure, I can tackle that one. So Google for Education is just the name of our team at large, and the big key areas that we focus on are Google Apps for Education. So that's the free suite of services that Google offers to schools. So those are the actual applications from Google. So that's Gmail, Chat, Google Drive, where you get docs and spreadsheets and presentations. So if you have a consumer Gmail account, and if you've ever used all of the services within that, it's those kinds of services that are offered for free with greater security controls for schools. Google Play for Education is a subset of the Play site. So the Play site is where you can find all different Android applications that consumers use on their tablets, on their Android phones. But the Play for Education site are those EDU-vetted applications that are found specifically for schools. So those Android applications are developed by external developers. They're not created by Google themselves, but it'll be things like learning management systems, math applications, books, and different apps that are developed by outside developers.
Okay. What type of damage rate are you experiencing on your Chromebooks, like damaged screens, dropped Chromebooks, etc.?
In our district, we planned for 10% per year of catastrophic loss or damage. So that means that in our school district, with 7,000 units deployed, we planned for about 700 completely destroyed units a year when we budgeted for our project. And we've not reached that at all. We're more at about 4.5%, not quite 5%, in the first 2 years of our one-to-one initiative. So we're well within, our self-imposed constraint. I would tell you that the Chromebook is, many Chromebook models are built on consumer chassis. However, there are, Lenovo offers a very, very stout Chromebook that costs a little more, but you're paying for the, extra reinforcement in the chassis, etc. But we have found that we can repair almost everything that breaks: keyboard, screens, top cover, bottom cover, touchpad, PowerPoint, motherboard. We can do it all in-house for the most part, and about 99% of our repairs are done by students in our tech centers, and we have student technicians who take care of the repairs. So it's really for us just a matter of the cost of parts, which so far have been, especially after the Samsung 5, the Samsung 303 in our district, plenty of parts at very reasonable cost.
And David, I had a follow-up question for you on that. Did you do any training with your students to make sure that they were treating Chromebooks with respect?
Yes, we did. We required a parent and student orientation before we checked out the Chromebook, and it included a section on, care of your Chromebook. Definitely don't take it in the bathtub with you, but then all the other good, we provided cases for the students. We require the students to place their Chromebook in a case when they transport them around the building. Obviously talked about drops, dirt, water, etc., the proper way to clean them, etc. And we make sure that the parents and students both get to hear it because we know those computers go home, and in some cases in our district, they are the home computer.
And then one final question. What type of professional learning do you recommend for Chromebooks?
I don't believe that you need professional learning about the device. The device is very, very simple. We have never taught a student anything about a Chromebook directly. We use our Chromebooks to teach, as I said earlier, science and math and language arts and social studies, etc. I think on the teacher side, you focus on Google Apps and how do you manage a classroom when all of the users are in Google Apps, all of the sharing, how do you create a common language around your classroom procedures. So it's really more about being very skilled users of Google Apps and also creating some common language about classroom management related to whatever technology you're using.
Okay, actually I lied. One kind of like a two-part question. It should be quick. How did you train your students to repair your Chromebooks, and what company do you use for insurance with Chromebooks?
The main office,
The first question is, how do we train our students? And we obviously have some professional technicians. Our student technicians serve one term, one period a day as a student technician, because there's so many kids that want to do it. And it's really like an internship. It's on-the-job training. Usually within about a week, 5, 6, 7 school days, we have been able to train our high school students to do about any repair you can do on a Chromebook. And for us, we use Asset Genie or AG Parts Worldwide. It's the same company. AG Parts Worldwide is our most reliable source of parts, but you can buy parts for these devices from lots and lots of different folks, but we use AG Parts.
Okay, that is all the time we have for questions today. So thank you guys very much for attending the webinar today. As I said earlier, it is being recorded, and you should all get a copy of the recording and the slides in your inbox by the end of day Monday. Please check your spam folders for those. Sometimes our emails end up there. So if you have not received it by end of day Wednesday, then email me and I will make sure you get a copy. Until then, thank you guys very much for attending, and thank you very much.